So this is a mindful exercise that we're about to do. We call this the raisin exercise. And it's all about bringing awareness to physical sensations and sensory input as we do this. So what are the 5 senses that we experience? Sight, sound, smell, taste, and touch. And I'm going to guide you through this practice as we eat a raisin. And hopefully, pay attention, notice, be aware. Hopefully you'll notice things that maybe if you typically eat a raisin during the day, you wouldn't really bring your awareness to. So let's go ahead and start. Just taking a comfortable position in your chairs. And looking at the raisins in your hand. Just having them in the palm of your hand. And we'll start by just looking at this. And know that you have 2 or 3 in your hand. And just kind of noticing what the raisin looks like. What do you notice? What color is it to start with? Are there multiple colors? Or different shades? Does it look wrinkled, smooth, shiny, not shiny? Just really taking in all the visual about this raisin and kind of looking at it like you've never seen it before. You don't know what this is. And now picking up that raisin, one of the raisins, between your finger and thumb, and even just noticing for yourself, which one did you choose? That's interesting. And rolling it between your index finger and your thumb and just noticing what it feels like. Is it sticky? Is it smooth? Is it rough? Is it soft? Is it firm? Just noticing all of that with a sense of curiosity, as if you've never seen or felt a raisin before. And then bringing that raisin up to your nose and smelling it. Notice what you smell. You may want to close your eyes. That can sometimes help to really minimize the external distractions and bring your attention right where you want to bring it. So noticing what you smell. And then maybe bringing it toward your ear and again rolling it between your fingers and noticing if you hear anything. Is there a sound or not? Now, taking this raisin and just putting it very gently on the middle of your tongue. Don't chew yet. Just placing it on your tongue and see what you notice. Do you notice any flavor yet? Do you notice any judgment about flavor? What does it feel like on your tongue? Noticing for yourself if you feel any sensations around salivation or an urge to chew or swallow. And not really jumping into that urge, just letting it sit on your tongue. Noticing any emotions that might arise. Is this frustrating? Is it curious? Is there a sense of urgency? I just want this to be chewed up and swallowed. Just noticing that. And now very gently, rolling the raisin around from one side of your tongue to the other. Noticing physical sensations around salivation or urge to swallow, urge to chew. Just noticing if you notice any more flavor arising as you roll it around. And now very gently, just take a little bite, maybe on the edge of the raisin. Noticing for yourself, which side of the mouth did you choose to take the bite of the raisin? What does it feel like as you very slowly chew? Noticing if there's any crunch or not. Noticing if it feels soft. Noticing if flavor comes a little bit more alive as you slowly chew the raisin. What flavors do you notice? Are there flavors that maybe are surprising to you? Just noticing that. Is there a sense of earthiness? Is there the urge to swallow? And so go ahead, if I know that you're probably feeling some salivation and so forth, and noticing that, where does that arise from? Where does that show up in your mouth? And go ahead and chew the raisin very slowly and swallow as your body asks you to swallow. And as you do that, see if you can notice how far down the esophagus you actually can continue to feel that raisin. At what point does it disappear? You might also shift your attention to the stomach area. Your stomach is about the size of your fist and just below your breastbone and slightly to the left. So noticing in that area, are there any sensations around hunger or fullness? Just noticing that for yourself. Noticing if there's a sense of pleasure or displeasure around the taste of the raisin. Some people love raisins, some people don't. Noticing if there's an urge to have another raisin. So if you have another raisin in your hand, I invite you to bring your attention back to that, looking at it once again. Kind of deciding for yourself if you would like to eat another raisin. And if you would, I invite you to go through this practice once again. Just looking at the raisin, looking at the shape, the wrinkles, and again, picking it up between your index finger and your thumb, rolling it around, noticing, does this one feel any different than the last one? Is it moister or drier? Again, smelling, noticing what you smell. Is there any difference? And bringing it up to your ear, listening. Is there any sound? And then once again, just placing it in the middle of your tongue, giving yourself a moment to notice. Is there the physical sensation of salivation? Where is that arriving from? That's the wisdom of the body. That's the beginning of digestion right there. And your body automatically does that. Noticing thoughts that might be arising, stories, memories perhaps. Maybe the memory of your grandmother making oatmeal raisin cookies. Who knows? And then just go ahead and in the next moments of silence, just rolling the raisin around on your tongue, chewing it slowly, noticing the urges to swallow. And I'll let you finish this mindful practice in silence. And whenever you're ready, and certainly in your own time, Jane and Jeff, take your time. But when you are kind of done with your practice, I'm just going to open up and ask each of you, what was this like for you? What was your experience with it?
Well, I love the raisin exercise because each time it's different. I've done it with you a few times. And the unique thing I found today was with the first raisin, the noise in the ear. And I had never really experienced that before. And I'm not really a raisin person, but I enjoy when I do this exercise. And I started salivating probably, I think it was when it came to the ear, even before it was in my mouth.
Isn't that amazing?
Yep.
The things we notice, right? Those subtle.
Yep.
Yeah. How about you, Jeff? What was that like for you?
Well, like Jane, I don't remember the up to the ear part of things, so that's kind of cool to hear that. You know, you think of a raisin doesn't have any sound necessarily,
Right.
but there's a little spongy sound there. And being a cook and being chefs that we're training, I just think this exercise is really pertinent because we do this every day, several times a day, but don't necessarily pay attention to what we're doing. And this just makes you take the time to think about the components. You know, you've got the skin, you've got the flesh, you've got the seeds, there's sometimes a little stem in there. And most of the time, with the raisin in particular, you're just hammering them down.
Right. By
So
the
this-
handful, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But this just makes you break those holes into pieces and parts, and it kind of goes back to, again, being mindful is seeing the trees for the forest.
Yes, yes. It's interesting that, this is one way to practice mindfulness. And it's a great introductory practice because it's all about, awareness of so many things going on with one little raisin.
Yeah.
And the simple act of chewing and swallowing, which we all take for granted. We do it many times a day,
Yeah.
right? But we can apply this practice to any areas in our lives. And another area that I think is so pertinent to what your department does is the preparation of food as well. The chopping and the preparing. If we can bring our attention right there, really, really
Right.
beneficial.
And I love the exercise. And one of the reasons I got into this business and stayed in the business is we're not in cubicles all day. We are blessed with the energy of a busy restaurant in full motion and what that energy is like with people, with the smells, with the tastes, with the music, with the conversation, the beauty of flowers in a catering event, the wonderful tastes and smells of the food. So we get to live that every day. And I love being able to do something like this where it brings me back to being grateful for that and thinking about that.
Yeah. Oh, I love that you brought up that attitude of,
Yeah.
of gratitude. It's so important in our lives. We take so much for granted because we're running at such a pace,
Yeah.
right? So to drop into the moment, recognize what's here, invite a little bit of gratitude. That's a lovely component of mindfulness.
Thank you. Lisa, what are we going to see in these upcoming videos?
Yes, so these next few videos are going to be focused on interpersonal mindfulness, which we talked about a few moments ago, right? So if we think about mindfulness being this open-hearted, non-judgmental awareness to whatever's arising in the moment, moment by moment, we can think of interpersonal mindfulness as bringing that same open-hearted awareness, non-judgmental awareness to our interactions with others. Now, what I would like to say about the interpersonal mindfulness segments that are coming up is to recognize that this is truly an introduction to interpersonal mindfulness. Interpersonal mindfulness it takes a broad scope, and it's actually a very difficult practice. So if you haven't noticed by now, bringing the skill set of mindfulness just toward ourselves can be quite challenging. It's very simple, and it's very difficult and complex and challenging at the same time. So that's just bringing it to ourselves. So if you can imagine now we're bringing it to our interactions with others, it can be quite challenging. So these next few segments will be an introduction into how to bring mindfulness into our interactions, our conversations, our communication, our relationships with others.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
Thanks.